back to Vibe Coders University. We are teaching literally the cutting edge of software here. No one else is doing this. I'm staking my flag there. Today we are talking about building agentic software. So last week we basically covered the foundation of how you implement AI into an app. We showed you, or I showed you guys how to use OpenRouter to use any model you want, and how to use OpenPipe to actually, one, debug your AI app and debug your LLM calls, as well as to save training data, which is gold. And very, very valuable, especially when you get to these agentic environments. Today, we're covering the basics of what agentic software is and how we create it, such as what makes an app agentic in the first place, some real world use cases so you guys get an idea of the kind of apps you could make. Also, keep in mind that none of this existed 2 years ago. I want to make sure I hammer that into people's brains. There's literally an infinite, there's 99% more things to discover than we currently have today. Common do's and don'ts, and live building an app example, and just walking you guys through my thought process when it comes to building apps. Kind of like once you go through this first course, you could literally build anything you want forever. So it'll be pretty good. See, where are we going this week? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. What makes an app agentic? Super, super simple. This term goes to AI agents as well. The moment you give an LLM a tool and the ability to function call, the app is agentic. That's basically it. Sorry, I had an LLM write this. That's basically it for that slide. Okay. With LLMs, you have to understand that prior to ChatGPT coming out, or prior to function calling and all of these useful tools coming out, it was impossible for any software to take unstructured data such as a voice conversation or a voice transcript or an email someone sends you or chat logs, and actually take that information of natural language and execute functionality in an app. So, for example, with LLMs, let's say that a couple of you guys are working with customer relationship management. A customer sends you an email, their product number 1234, and they have a complaint about this, and that's really good feedback, and you want to sort that all automatically in. I lost my train of thought. The voice note one is a lot more fun because this is what I do on a personal basis. So every day I wake up, I have really bad ADHD. I have no idea what's going on. I get overwhelmed with stuff really easily. To Do app is one of the best examples for this, where I will literally speak into my phone. I'm like, okay, today I got Vibe Coders University. After that, I got to record a video. I got to prepare for my trip to China. I have to clean my cat stuff, whatever. And I'm just kind of yapping on my walk daily. And then an AI receives my unstructured raw voice note and then extracts data from the voice note for me automatically, where it's like, okay, Butoshi gotta run his Vibe Coding University class, gotta clean his cat stuff, gotta prepare for the trip, and just really helps with organizing and sorting that. Dynamic experiences that were previously impossible are possible now. In terms of a more gamified experience way, I see a lot of people making Dungeons and Dragons automatically, generative images services. There are really interesting apps I've been seeing where it's generative AI bedtime stories app store. Yeah, so there's these AI story generators where on demand, on the spot, people could generate these stories for their kids and then generate images. And it just creates this really cool dynamic experience that literally does give you endless possibilities and experiences. That's one example of many, but start thinking towards this direction when you are working with these apps. So a couple do's and a couple don'ts, because I'm seeing this a lot. Don't use LLMs for the sake of using LLMs. Don't make an AI app, or don't add AI into your app just for the sake of adding AI to an app. If you are creating an app from scratch with AI, you got to think, is this app possible if I don't use ChatGPT? Is this app possible? What's the word specifically I'm looking for? Is this app possible without an LLM? If this app is possible without AI, without an LLM, don't add AI to the app. However, if this app literally could not exist without the functionality of LLMs like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever. Like if this app you're making cannot exist if you do not put AI or LLMs or ChatGPT into the app, then you're probably good. It's probably a good check light. One funny example that like has been going around is there's this GitHub called VibeSort, which is AI powered array sorting using GPT. So you install VibeSort, put in your OpenAI API key, and if you have an array, ChatGPT will put it in organizational order for you. One example of many. Like just apps you don't have to do. Like this is like obviously this is a meme, but you could do this programmatically. If you could do something programmatically without the use of LLMs, don't use LLMs. If you can't do something, for example, generate an image, generate stories, generate worlds, etc., it's probably a green light. It's probably good. You never want to expose sensitive info into prompts when you're working with these apps, so just make sure you pay attention to that because we don't want useful customer training data to go into the behemoths of AI. Ship with observability basically means just use OpenPipe so we could keep our training data and also debug it. And another important thing to note is when we are working with LLMs with function calling, it is entirely possible for the AI to mess up a function call. So we do want to make sure in these apps we have backups, and we want to make sure that we either retry a function call if it fails, or just have good fallback, have good handling to make up for LLMs not being 100% consistent. What's up, Magic Man? What's up, Garcia? Welcome. Now, a couple of examples of apps. So a majority of apps right now that are LLM focused apps are things like, I'm gonna say Perplexity, where a lot of these apps are actually just wrappers. They're all chat experiences for the most part, where Perplexity, for example, is an AI agent with function calling to access the internet and do research. All of that, like if I just search up, give me examples of AI apps today that are not possible without LLMs. So Perplexity is a great example where the user experience for me is a chat app. And what happens behind the scenes is there is an AI agent with function calls that can use tools to search the internet, can use tools to take a web link and read the whole web link, add that web link to context, and repeat that as many times as it needs until the AI agent goes, okay, I think I have enough data to answer and respond to the user. This is the output I'm gonna give the user. I'm a rapper for mac and cheese with instant iced tea. So this is one example. Perplexity is an app. There are other examples like, let's see what they say here. So there's chat apps, Cursor, of course, like that app we all usually use. I highly recommend this app if you don't already use Cursor. It is an AI code editor. But Cursor, this app would not be possible without AI, and actually, because of AI, makes this app one of the best in existence because it just makes coding really easy. So believe it or not, there was actually a time period, right, before you guys came in this server and before the server existed, where Cursor was not a thing. It was horrible. I had to go on ChatGPT and I had to copy code and then I had to paste it into my app, and I didn't have access to all of these like really cool things. So Cursor and the experience just makes it really easy to actually start coding and going through. And these experiences that weren't previously possible without AI now make my life 10 times easier. Is kind of like what we want to go for. There's also fun experiences that you might want to do. Like for example, I made this app a while back where I kind of had this idea in my head where, it would be so cool if we could just generate these AI, like these worlds where depending on player actions, like whatever happens in a video game, then goes on and affects the whole world and affects the whole story. So I'm going through this app as an example of like something I made that could not have been done without AI. But for example, like all of this is AI generated. Like I generate a world and then it gives me this straight world story with world structure. I generate locations that didn't exist. I generate the tags and I generate historical events. I generate cities that didn't exist. And all of this is all combined together to create like a whole world that is kind of alive and active. And so we have factions, and you also have characters. The characters are cool because like all the characters get generated with background. And now another thing that's cool on top of this is because I have a whole world that's generated, and then I make characters with personality, backstory, and personality traits. I could bring these characters to life with AI, and then you can start talking to the characters in the world. So it's like through the use of AI, I'm able to kind of take my imagination and bring this world to life, and kind of it's like a simulation. It's like creating a simulated world where like I talk, any actions happen, and then the whole world changes. As an example, this city got destroyed because I blew it up, and now the city doesn't exist. Couldn't like really previously do that just through text without LLMs. So one example of many. Today, for the sake of simplicity and kind of getting you guys in the mindset of how these apps could work, we're gonna make everyone's favorite Silicon Valley's favorite startup apps. We're gonna make a to-do app, yay! So this to-do app is gonna be just super simple. We're going to make a database where we have, today's to-dos, and then we're gonna have an AI chat interface where I could just talk to the AI agent. And what the AI agent is going to do is it's going to take my text, my unstructured random morning yaps, and convert it into something that could properly fit our database with 100% accuracy. Once you kind of get the basics of this app and understand the basics of this app, you could pretty much make anything on top of that, because at the end of the day, it is all natural language, and it's just instructions for an AI agent where, hey, you have this data. So kind of, I think you could break everything down to this is the user's request. These are tools you have access to. Use the tools to interact with the app. So that 3-step sequence is the process we're going to be following throughout the whole thing. So last week, and I can send this to you guys too, in the last class, we made this simple terminal UI where I showed you guys the basics. So we'll go through and overview it real quick so we can start working on this. But this app, let me go through, make this bigger. This is called tools example. And then if I want to run my own app, find index.ts. Find src. Find src CLI. src CLI. Okay, so last week we made this app where it's just kind of a terminal wrapper. I didn't make this into a website, but we'll make a little like to-do website example today. But in this case, what do we have? So from a user experience, I could talk to my terminal, right? I could say hi, and then an AI agent talks back to me. You say hello. So very cool. Now what we did is we walked through how to give this AI agent access to tools so that it could do things like perform calculations, because everyone's like, oh, LLMs can't do math. All right, then just give them a calculator, bro. What the fuck? And then we also gave AI access to internet search. So if I asked this AI something that requires the usage of internet, like what is the news of today, September 17th? What's going to happen in the back end, I don't have logs that show this, but right now the AI is using the internet tool, which we connected to Perplexity, right? So the cool thing about Perplexity is that Perplexity is its own AI agent network that searches up the internet. They also have a tool and an API. So I could take advantage of all of those AI agents that this company made and give it to my AI agent as a simple tool. So all that complexity, all of that complications kind of just September 17, 2023. Oh yeah, training data. Oops. So it did search up what happened. I was like, Hawaii wildfires, bro. That happened like 2023. 2025. Sorry, I forgot training data is based in 2023. So AIs will always think it's 2025. But whatever. What you just saw in the back end is that the AI saw that This is better. 2025. Donald Trump visits the UK. TikTok deal. Oh my God, bro. I forgot that. Who was it? Oracle bought TikTok in the US. That's kind of huge deal. Whatever. Other news things I don't care about because the news is depressing and it's all psyop anyways. Point is, I gave my AI agent access to the internet tool. And what's really cool about AI and AI agents is you just got to give them the tool and they know when to use the tool. So like I'm going to repeat that one more time because that understanding has made working with AI apps really easy. I gave my AI access to an internet search tool. When I'm asking the AI questions or just talking to it in a way that doesn't require the internet tool, it's not going to use the internet tool. However, the moment that I ask something that requires the usage of the internet, it automatically knows, okay, let me go search the internet and then come back to the user. So the crazy thing, and just like this is part of the anthropomorphization of just having this concept in your head that makes working with AI easier, is I have a simple prompt here that just says use this for up-to-date or external knowledge. That's the prompt for the internet search tool. Perform a web search using Perplexity. Use this for up-to-date or external knowledge. In terms of the system prompt for the AI itself, so I think if we could go back here. Actually, I don't think there is a system prompt for this for the most part. There is no system prompt. The system prompt is nothing. So like the AI is prompted by default, but because I just prompted in the description of the tool itself, how to perform a web search, it automatically knows when to perform a web search. And that's a crazy thing about AI agents and LLMs and tools and all of this that happens is you could literally give them a tool and they will know when to use the tool. So a key thing about making these AI agents reliable is creating the right environment and the right prompting instructions. But if you give them a tool that works, they're going to use that tool to accomplish their goal. They're very goal-driven creatures. And again, it's artificial intelligence. They're still intelligent at the end of the day. So if you give them a problem and you give them an environment and you give them tools, if you give them a problem to solve and you give them an environment and you give them tools, they will know how to use the tools to solve the problem if the tools could actually solve the problem. So as long as you're giving them the right tools, it works. Now, in terms of taking this basic app and kind of transforming it into a web UI with a to-do, I'm actually going to one-shot the entire to-do app with the wrapper, with the website, with the database and everything, to show you guys also how good, careful prompting could just decimate and destroy an entire app. Like, I'm not going to sit here and just like code for a couple hours saying like, no, I'm going to just one-shot it. I'm going to make a prompt. I'm going to have codecs and I'm going to have an AI agent code it for me. And then we're going to alt tab and doom scroll on Twitter until it's done. An engagement farm. So we could, min-max our reach and distribution. So in this case, I'm going to be using a tool called Repo Prompt. Now, Repo Prompt is, let me link this as well. So I'm about to show you guys a workflow combo that is very powerful as a live coding example of how I code. Because I don't do traditional coding. Because I learned how to code with AI. So I really only use AI to code. But let me walk you guys step by step what I'm doing. Now we have an existing code base. In this existing code base, last week, we set up how to create an AI core with AI, with Open Router and Open Pipe, so that our app could just call AI anytime at will, very, very easily. And then we also have a logger, and we have tools where we basically tell the system, hey, if there's any tool you want to use, put the tools in here so that we could call it in the app. Now what I'm going to do is, because we have a really strong base, is I'm going to use Repo Prompt, which is a tool for gathering context of an AI, or gathering context of your code base to give it to an AI system. Now, because I have a ChatGPT subscription, so I won't use Pro here. I don't think we need to use Pro. We'll just like do thinking. because I have a ChatGPT thinking subscription, I want to take as much advantage of the front end interface of ChatGPT as much as possible to save on costs. Because anytime I'm not using the front end, and if I'm using the back end or I'm using Codex, then every single query, every single call is actually charging me. Whereas if I just use the ChatGPT front end, I could use it as many times as I want because they're paying for it. So we're gonna code on the most, I guess, cost beneficial way possible. Another advantage of repo prompt and why I like repo prompt so much is I typically work with really big code bases. And like, yes, we have cursor and cursor agents are good at grepping the tool. Well, we'll go into that in a second because that's very important. Let me get this real quick and walk through what's happening here. So for repo prompt, I am going to find the code base we're working with, which is tools example. It is very goated. Now in repo prompt, I was able to load in the folder. And what's nice about repo prompt is we could kind of click the specific files that we want the AI to have context of. Now back to that point I was saying is what's really important about repo prompt, especially when it comes to crafting these more complicated problems that require you to not mess up because it's a production ready code base and you have users and you have code and you don't want security issues. What's super important about repo prompt that you cannot get inside cursor, that you cannot get inside of Codex or cursor agents, is repo prompt gives AI a bird's eye view of your whole code base. So it sees your whole code base, and if you have a specific problem, it could look at the whole code base and be like, this is exactly how we're going to fix the problem. Now, because AI, number one, in this workflow, got the bird's eye views of the code base, we could take the response of that prompt and give it to a coding agent. And remember, the coding agent does not have a bird's eye view of the code base. The coding agent is inside the code base. The coding agent can navigate the code base, but it will not have a bird's eye view of the code base. So we're covering up AI's weaknesses. Like we're covering up both weaknesses and turning them both into strengths by pairing them together. So in this case, I'm going to explain and write into repo prompt after selecting my whole code base. I want to make a simple React app, chat app that takes, that lets me talk to an AI assistant that has access to a to-do list. All right, so that's kind of just like number one. I'm just kind of just literally writing what I want. Nothing specific here. It's all natural language anyways. So I want to make a simple React chat app. Let me see if I could zoom in so you guys could see this better. Yeah, so I want to make a React app chat app that lets me talk to an AI assistant that has access to a to-do list. Now again, this is where vocabulary and like strong con, because everyone's like, oh, like you're not gonna know anything if you vibe code. Like, but the thing about vibe coding is you're writing and you're describing, and you can't write or describe if you don't have base foundational knowledge of a subject. And you gain this base foundational knowledge by like continuing to work with it. So in this case, I know exactly what I want. Like, I want to use better SQLite for local database storage because I just want to keep it simple. And like in this case, let's say that you didn't know what better SQLite was. You could just say database and like it'll make up for it. But again, the more you know what you want, the more you'll get exactly what you want, like what you need. I want to use better SQLite for local database storage. Give the AI access to only one tool, which is to add to to-do list based on what the user said. You should prompt the AI in the system to automatically assume things need to be added in the to-do list in chat. Otherwise, if there's really nothing to add, then let the AI choose nothing. You know, I keep it even simpler than this. Give the AI access to only one tool, which is to add to to-do list based on what the user said. Give that access to these tools. So we want the AI to add to our to-do list, but then we also want the AI to remove, like delete from to-do list. And then we also want the AI to check done. And these are kind of like the 3 basic tools in the to-do app that we want to cover right now. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for the prompt. I want a website app where I could talk to an AI assistant, have access to to-do list, and I want to use better SQLite for local database storage. All right, give the AI access to these tools. Now that prompt will work from like a simple, hey, I kind of want it to do app. Now to cover our ask for the future and to take this prompt up a notch higher and make sure we're really good, I'm going to use this specific prompting, and then I'm going to explain why. To ensure that the AI has 100% accuracy, use Zod schemas to check the output of the AI function and make sure that the AI function call is accurate. If it is not, add a simple retry for 3 times with exponential backing in case of API issues. And then one last thing I also want to do is we are working with tools, but I didn't add logging to my code base, so I kind of messed up. I didn't add logging, like any logging documents to my code base, so that's where I kind of messed up. So just so the AI has a refreshed mind on how to do good function calling, I'm gonna just copy this prompt. Just copy this whole page and kind of stuff it in there on the top. So I'm gonna write here, function calling docs. By the way, what this is, because I use this a lot, is I made, if any of you are familiar with Raycast, I made my own custom Raycast keyboard to write prompts easier. I can share that shortcut if anyone knows what ray prompting is, or if you want to get into this. But basically what I do is LLMs do really good at XML tags. So I like organizing my prompts in XML tags so the AI knows what's context, what's info, what are instructions, etc. Let me drop the OpenAI link for you. And for the people on X that just asked the question, we are currently showing the class how to make agentic software. And we're starting off with a very simple to-do chat app where you talk with an AI and it parses your app for you and saves it to a database. So going through, okay, we got our function calling, we got our prompt. This all looks really good. So what's nice in Repo Prompt is once you set up the prompt, you can just copy it. So copy prompt right here. And now this whole prompt, we could just go to the interface, in this case, ChatGPT, and then we just paste it in. I forgot something super important before I actually hit enter. I like doing a process where I ask the bird's eye view, so let's call them bird's eye view AI. I like doing a process where I ask the bird's eye view AI to create either a PRD or the architectural design for me. So then I could take the architecture design and then I could go into Cursor or go into Codex, paste in the architecture design, and the AI agent knows exactly what to do. So in this case, I'm going to say, design me the architecture. So actually, I have a prompt preset already that I could share with you guys, where I already have the architecture prompt right here. So this is kind of what I already do. Yes, architecture. I want to edit this, so yeah, let's just keep it simple. So I have a prompt here, but this prompt is like really overkill for it. Maybe not. I guess I'll use it. I'll use it, sure. I don't want it to do web search. So I'm gonna copy this. This is the architecture prompt. Copy, paste. Don't worry about web search or design. I already have everything. Just create me the PRD. So now what GPT-5 thinking is going to do is it is looking at our whole code base. It is looking at the requirements that we just gave it. It's looking at our existing code, and it's also looking at the documentations of the function calling API. to create me the PRD for the React Chat app that we need. It's automatically going to use Zod schemas and retry logic just in case the AI agent messes up and the function is wrong. So our app could continue working without breaking. So it's like really that simple line. Like this little line right here, to ensure that AI has 100% accuracy, use Zod schemas to check the output of the AI function, and add a simple retry. Like literally, bro, these two sentences will make your AI app go from like probably not the most reliable to extremely reliable. So this is there's an interesting thing I'm starting to see when it comes to prompting with AI too, where you'll see a lot of people with like really complicated kind of prompts and workflows, and they're like, this is a God prompt, this is a God prompt. I have seen God prompts in as little as 2 sentences, where it's like, because of the way that specific sentence was structured, with the specific vocabulary words that sentence used and the specific instructions, cause the AI or cause the LLM to just outperform what I'm usually expected. So I'm not saying this is God prompt, but I'm saying there are like ways to really just juice up an LLM based off just a sentence or 2. And it's like, that's what you guys really have to pay attention to. So a lot of these people you see online, especially on X, especially on Twitter, that are like, AI sucks, or like LLMs are garbage. It's like, they don't know. Like they genuinely, they don't know anything. It's why you don't listen to them. And you just like do it yourself. These people are very discouraging. They're kind of losers, but you know, each their own, I guess. So I'm just kind of. It's kind of the waiting that's the worst part. Yeah, while we're waiting, Slothy has a project that he wants to show us. So we'll overlook it real quick. You make me log in off rip. Okay, hold on. Let me sign up. Oh, nice. Login system works. Very impressive. Very impressive. Okay, Slothy, have you built an app before? Wait, is he in here? Oh, he is in here. Have you built an app before? I'm just curious. What's on your mind? I think people who think LLMs suck are losers, and it's a skill issue. Share thought. Oh. Cool. Okay, so this is one of Slothy's first apps. So the lore, and it shows up in little thought thing. Wait, this is really cool. Okay, so what Slothy made, I remember Slothy was on my Twitch stream, and also I'm just kind of, we're doing side yaps, we're waiting for AI to finish. But Slothy was on my Twitch stream, and he was like, I have an idea for an app that does this. So I just make the app, bro. And then he did. It took him a day to just make that app. And this dude has never made an app before, but I was able to log into the app. I was able to share my thought, and then we could see my thought. Now, what's cool about this app is you could kind of just like jot down random thoughts and then see what people are thinking. And it could connect thoughts. Slothy, I would say one thing I didn't like, this is feedback. And trust me, bro, when users give you feedback for your app, bro, it's gold. I love that. I drink that feedback up. But if you want to make this a viral app, and it's kind of just like raw thoughts right now off rip, first thing that I would not do is gate people with a login off rip. Because like, why would I log into your app? I don't know what your app is. Like, what even is your app? But if I was able to see like a homepage with like all the existing thoughts and be like, these are all the thoughts that are happening. And what's really interesting, so this is what 11 Labs does in terms of getting people to actually use the app. It's something like this. See, in 11 Labs, off rip, I could actually like interact, and I could paste in some sort of voice generation.
In the ancient land,
And then I could see the app off rip. So if I just like write test,
test.
it kind of like lets me use the app off rip. You could do something like this where it's like add a thought, and then it adds a thought, and then you kind of like gatekeep it and be like, if you want to see the other thoughts, log in. Then I would want to log in, because then I'm like, oh well, I want to see the other thoughts. Like that's cool. That's just like some random feedback, and also shareability. If you could make this app share, like this would be a say. I could see this being a viral app on Twitter. Like people would want to share random thoughts. Just make sure you don't have security issues, so you don't run into T app scandal where it's supposed to be anonymous. And then I'm talking shit to people here, and then someone hacks your database and sees Butoshi said all this shit about me. What? Anyways, now the original bird's eye view architecture slash thinking design document is done. And we have our PRD. PRD means products requirements document. And usually in the age of legacy companies, you would have a product manager or whatever be like, this is what our app needs. And then give it to the dev, and the dev looks at the PRD and starts coding it. Now, in this case, you don't need that whole pipeline because the AI does everything for us, including making the PRD. And all we have to do is give it the idea. So in this case, we just want to build a minimal chat app where a user talks to an AI assistant that can add, delete, and check done to-dos persisted locally in Better SQLite 3. The assistant interacts with the to-do store only via functions/tools defined with strict JSON schema and Zod validators to guarantee correctness. Hi, Damien. The server enforces validation and database side effects only after Zod passes. All model API requests are wrapped in a 3-try exponential backoff for resilience. Opinionated call. So we're just gonna make a super simple Vite React front end with Express backend. We're gonna use Better SQLite. That's pretty much everything. What's nice about the PRD kind of style is it gives goals and non-goals. And I wanna say why this is very important, because this has saved my ass a lot. So when it comes to goals, I'll check the rest of the app in a bit. When it comes to goals, right, remember, LLMs and AI are very goal-driven creatures. They are goal-driven creatures. If you give them a goal in their system prompt or in their current task, and this is why giving AIs to do is very important and impactful, they will do whatever it takes to accomplish that goal. That's how goal-driven these creatures are. That is why the paperclip story exists. If you guys don't know the paperclip story, I learned about the paperclip story, and it's kind of creepy because it is actually how these AIs and how these LLMs function. And again, what I said earlier in the class, if you give these AIs tools, they will use the tools in their environment to accomplish the goal until they somehow manage to accomplish it. That's what makes AI powerful. Now, because we are giving it goals, it is going to follow these goals. And what's nice too is we give it non-goals. Sometimes AI wants to go off and do all of this random stuff and be like, oh, I made you this on your app. I also made you a database login. I was like, I had a Stripe like integration. I also did this. I did that. I did that. And it's like, no. I didn't want any of that. I just wanted these. So goals and non-goals are really good in prompts to help direct the AI agents more. Key user stories are interesting. So what I do a lot when it comes to prompting and working with AI is I literally put myself in the seat of a user, because I am a user for all my apps. Otherwise, like I wouldn't make them in the first place. But I literally put myself in the user chair, and I will try to verbally explain to the AI how I want the experience to be. So in this case, as a user, I can say add buy oat milk tomorrow morning and see a new to-do added. I can say delete the oat milk task and it's removed. I can say check off oat milk, or I'm done with oat milk and it's done. If my instruction is ambiguous, oh, this one's a nice one, like delete groceries, the assistant asks me to clarify before mutating data. So from the user experience standpoint, when you explain that to the coding agent, it keeps that in mind when coding, which makes it really nice. Everything else looks good. All right, we got our functional requirements. You want a single chat UI. We want the assistant tool calls. We want database mutations when the tool arguments pass Zod validation. And yeah, I mean, this all looks good. What's nice about the architecture and design, so a key thing when it comes to system design in apps and building software is, you know how everyone makes this joke where it's like, oh, it's just a chat GPT wrapper. Every bit of software on the internet is just a database wrapper. It's just a database wrapper. If your database, the schema, the database, the foundation of your app, that is the app. That's the whole app. Everything on top of it just makes the database look pretty. So if your database, your data model, data structure, if that is not premium, if that is not pristine, if that does not have a strong foundation, your app falls to the ground. What I really like about doing this bird's eye view PRD architectural design with AI is that it designs a database for us to make sure that the database is nice and strong and workable. Because if I didn't have a strong database here, there's no point in the function calling for my app, because where would it go when it does the function calling? It goes nowhere. So just a really nice thing. Overlook the database. If you had to learn one thing and like focus on one thing after class, it's like really start understanding data structures and databases, and just have ChatGPT walk you through so you can understand how that works. Because at the end of the day, the JSON, so the tool calls right here, and like this is a really nice tool call. At the end of the day, this is like nothing without this. So make sure you look into that. Anyways, this all looks good. I'm gonna copy it. Now that we have our architectural design for this app, I am going to go into Cursor, and we have our app right here. And I am kind of extra, and I like using Codex in Cursor. So I have like my little Codex thing right here. But you know what? For the sake of aesthetic for the video, I'm gonna open Codex in the terminal. But I usually work with Codex, like in Cursor. Another upgrade? Upgrade Codex. Okay, whatever. This is tools example, cool. This is Codex. And I am literally, first, let's make sure we're using a high model. Codex came out with a new model called Codex, or OpenAI came out with a Codex LLM. So we'll try that. I'm literally gonna copy this. So when it comes to taking the architecture design and giving it to the PRD, I like doing two things. I like one, copying our original prompt, right? And then sorting it by user prompt. So I like doing things like, what's up, Kobe? Good morning. I like doing things like hashtag user prompt, and then pasting that in, and then separating it by going hashtag architecture to implement, like this, and then just copying this whole output and pasting it in. And then yeah, and then we basically just wait. Now we'll go back to Slothy's app to see the whole point of the app and make another thought note so that we can see our thoughts connect. I have to log in again. Slothy. I forgot my password. Was it I love vibe coding? I love vibe coding. Oh, it was. Sick. So how do the connections work? Is there like an LLM in here, or it's like people who think LLMs just like, I think LLMs are cool. Does it connect? Wow. Oh, it uses Gemini. Oh, sick. Oh, and it uses the tags. Oh, that's super cool. Thoughts connected to the selected thoughts. I think LLMs are cool or connected to people who think LLMs suck are losers, and it's a skill issue. Doesn't ChatGPT have the ability to make entire file tree structures with files and output it to a zip in the chat? I think so. I haven't personally used it. I have like my style of doing this. Gemini free tier. Oh, this is all from the Gemini free tier. This is very cool. Okay, well, Slothy, can you add a thought so I can see my thought pop in here? This is like the whole thought network, right? This is cool. See, this is it's like this is an LLM app. This is an LLM app. Like, I don't think an app like this would be possible without an LLM, because thoughts are very unstructured. If people are just kind of shit posting and just like writing random things, and you want to see what thoughts connect to each other, you could use certain keywords, but people are most likely not going to use keywords, or like, and we want to see like the thoughts actually connect. So what's cool about this is when you put in a thought, I'm kind of just, I don't know, I'm also making this up from just looking at it. So Slothy, if I'm wrong, correct me. But when people just share an unstructured thought and like there's nothing to base it off on, what's nice about LLMs is their ability to interpretate as well. So in this case, adding the tags, the LLM sees, okay, this is a thought about technology, it's about AI, it's about LLMs, and they see the existing tags and they could tag future thoughts with that to create the thought network. And like that logic done previously to LLM is possible, but it's a pain in the ass and requires a shit ton more work than just adding an LLM and having it deal with the unstructured data for you. So another great example of LLM apps. Sure, you could install these. Yes, always run and do what you want. Now, while we were waiting for this to finish, does anyone have, we'll take a quick question break for anyone that has questions. Ooh, Kobe and X said applying for a DevRel role tonight. You're gonna bang out a mobile app using their SDK. I'm gonna put the Need Codex model to the test. I'm also testing it right now. We'll see how good it is. Artificial is typing. Okay. Let's see. Has it been an hour since I started stream? Not yet. Yeah. That's cute. Booniversity merch, that would be kind of tough. Sick. Might need one more repo prompt tutorial. Okay. Let us go into this right now. Always allow. Wait, you also don't have to. Node.js. But SQLite 3 fails to build on Node. Why? Okay, I'll just let him. Do a thing here. Would you be open to sharing some of your stored prompts from repo prompt? Yes. Okay, so we'll walk through a repo prompt tutorial. Yes. I am open to sharing them. So I will be sharing the prompts I have in repo prompt in here. But okay, another real quick repo prompt tutorial, just to kind of like walk through it from scratch. And again, give an example. So repo prompt. I assume out that you already use repo prompt. Now in this case, I opened up repo prompt. In this case, I open up repo prompt. I am working on a specific code base. You do everything in cursor? Okay, so we'll do like full walkthrough. I open up repo prompt. Why would I use repo prompt if I'm already using cursor? I would use repo prompt because I understand that the cursor agent might not have a direct bird's eye view of my entire code base. Or my code base is too big, but because we structured it nice and modular, I'm able to pick out specific files that are connected so I could start building up important context for an AI to solve a problem. So AI is very powerful. Actually, the repo prompt dev wrote something very insightful related to this. I think I liked it. Let me see if I could find it. Okay. So GPT-5 Pro is good, but the practice of dumping related code plus a problem will consistently outperform agent harnesses in most of my testing as well. And the reason is simple. Focus context allows the model to reason only on the problem rather than tool calls. This right here allows the model to reason only on the problem rather than tool calls. When we are working with some agent in Cursor, right, and like sure we could add files in there, but at the end of the day the agent still wants to like read the files and open it up and like go through it for context, right? When agents have to do this whole process in Cursor, a lot of their context and a lot of their token usage is being used in just navigating the code base and just reading the code base. And I guess you could say the LLM's mind kind of like drifts off in one direction, causing it to not have much focus in this direction. Because as a human being, and again, this is why I anthropomorphize AI a lot, because it helps with the actual design and thinking of LLMs. As a human being, if I am given only one task to focus on, and I'm laser focused on that one specific task, I'm getting that shit done. But if I have to worry about like all these other things and like they kind of like clog into my head. Now, what's nice about repo prompt is if I want to give focus context to an AI model and give it one single problem to solve, it's most likely gonna nail that problem every single time. So that's why I would use repo prompt. Now, when you open up repo prompt, you're gonna be taken to this screen. You wanna open the folder and you wanna find the code base you're working with. In this case, I'm working with this code base. Now, on the side, you have the ability to go through your whole code base and select only the files. I just closed repo prompt on accident. So you have the ability to select only the files that you are working with. However, in this case, we are working with all the files. So I'm just gonna select the whole database. Now, pay attention. Pay attention to this at the bottom. You see right here, where my big thing is. You see the token context. Right now, our code base has 46.5K tokens of context. ChatGPT typically will take around 60K to 70K. So you want to make sure you stay under that limit. You don't always want to stuff the whole code base into it. You only want to take the context of files related to your problem. In this case, because we were designing a whole app, I wanted to have access to my whole app. However, I could have totally removed the CLI here to save some context because it didn't need the CLI. I also like maybe, yeah, it doesn't need to see this package log file. That's fat. Oh yeah, that was the fat one. So right there, just got rid of 36K token context. So like you can be very specific and very picky with the files that you want to give your AI model. You want to be as precise as possible when you're picking the files for the AI model to work with. Now, once I have the files I'm working with, I will describe my problem or feature that I want to build in here. And then once that's done, I just click copy. And then I just go to like the ChatGPT interface. I also use AI Studio a lot. I use AI Studio a ton because Gemini 2.5 Pro is good and it has a million token context window, which means I could just stuff that. I could just stuff that with like hella context, and it does a really good job. Let's go check on our coding agent real quick. Is it? I'm hoping this is a one shot. That would be neato. It seems like it is. We'll see. So yeah, so I like going to repo prompt and giving the context. And then one important thing that I like doing, especially if you're using AI Studio Google is AI Studio gets really annoying with like trying to give you code back, and like I don't want it to give me code. I want it to analyze a problem I have so that I could give that to a coding agent, and the coding agent could go and do the code. I don't want to do the code, or like I don't want it to give me the code. I just want it to give me the high level architecture and the high level problem design. And that's pretty much it for Reaper prompt. In terms of the, like, you could save. I gotta change the UI a bit, but you could save stored prompts here as well. So I have all of these stored prompts here. I'll take the architecture prompt. This debugger prompt is okay. So I'll copy the architecture prompt that I used in class right now and paste it in there. I'll make a AI board. Give me one sec. Yeah, let's call this architecture prompt. I use this prompt when planning out the initial design / architecture of an app to get a PRD of. Did it not copy? Oh, it did. Okay. This will go in tips and lessons. So you guys can see the architecture prompt I use here as an example. I could probably simplify it. I'm kind of not liking the super long prompts. I'm kind of liking, with how smart AI models are now, I'm kind of really liking simple prompts, but I don't know. Lots to do. I don't have the answer. I just have everything I learned in the last 2 years, which is not enough. Genuinely, it's not enough. It's actually kind of why I made this community too, because I knew it wasn't enough. And I need more people who could help me explore this, so we could stack and multiply the skills. So it's my job to give you guys base knowledge so you could help me in return back. Neural Nora on Twitch said, do you still have your robot from the 4th of July video? Yeah, wait, is my thing done? Oh, he's just going off. More side questing, but yeah, he's in the back, right there. I don't know if you can see him. He's just bullying. I'll work on him more when I get back. Got to drop in a Vibrot Enchilot factory for the Vibrot slapathons. We do got to do more hackathons. Oh yeah, if you guys are doing hackathons, just like link them in here. I'm not gonna lie, it is possible that CODERS is just going through and destroying this whole app. If I use Cloud Code, I wonder if it would have been done way faster. Well, the core logic still applies. I could actually, hold on. Yeah, I did not need to use a super expensive, super smart, long thinking model for this. That's okay. What is Google's baseline tooling hackathon? Is it this? Today's AWS at the LA Convention Center. There's an AWS one at the LA Convention Center? Hold on. I just want to know what this agent is doing real quick, because I feel like the app... Oh, it's running into annoying ass... Oh, it's done? Populate END with OpenRouter API key. Is it? Let's see. So... Oh, I don't have the... does a client run? Let's see. Sorry, I took my thing to the side so I could look at my env keys in peace. Open router, API key. All right, let's go through the code. It says it's done. I have my thing in the env. I'm assuming that's what it wants. I don't see errors so far. And what it's doing. So it's telling us that it made our client. So I assume I could just npm run client. Okay. It looks horrible UI wise, but you know, Codex isn't the best system designer and Opus could fix this up for us, whatever. So we got our client. Now it is a server that we want to make sure works well. Now when I run the server, npm run server dev, I get this failed to start server error. Deopen failed. Okay, so when we ran into an error. This is another great use case of open. This is another great use case of repo prompt in which it helps us kind of find and debug the error. So in this case, we got this error. I have two options. Oh, you always have infinite options, but I have two main options. I could go to Codex and I could paste in that error and see if it'll fix it, which is kind of the quick one. I got this error when I tried running npm run server dev. So that is one thing to do. And we get to enter. Super simple. Issue number one. Let's say that doesn't work and Codex fails to actually do that for us. Codex actually fails to solve the issue. Then I would resort to repo prompt. And then I would take the whole context of my code base. Specifically, actually, this is a backend issue. So I would take all the context of my backend. I would paste that into like AI Studio or ChatGPT, who has the bird's eye view of my code base, and copy and paste the error and say, hey, I'm getting this error. Why am I getting this error? What's the issue? What's the reason behind this error? And what's the solution behind the error? That kind of 3-step process of find out what the issue is. Oh, better SQLite didn't load. Oh, let me try. npm rebuild. This is a node thing. That would be annoying. I don't want to get into a whole node thing on stream. I could just use a different database, bro. It's like no big deal. Oh, perfect. Cool. So it did one-shot our app. Our issue was not related to what the AI was or not capable of doing. So cool. Okay, we now have. So we ran server. All right, so that's cool. So kind of to explain to you guys what the issue was, in case you guys ever do run into like wanting to use better SQLite. I wonder if this is because I'm on Mac specifically. Regardless, by pasting in this issue, Codex that we're currently using, our cursor agent was able, our coding agent was able to tell us exactly what went wrong. In this case, it said, hey, it was SQLite that didn't load on your machine because of this error. It is your environment. Wait, I ran npm run server dev locally in this workspace and the server boots, so the code path is fine. You have access to your own workspace? Anyways, it just told us to rebuild. So I just copied this and it worked. So cool, now our server works. So this is great. Now let's go through and let's try our app. Let us npm run server dev as instructed. Seems like our server works perfectly fine. Let us now npm run client dev. And it seems like our client now works and is perfectly fine. Seems like in terms of logs, there's actually no issues. So he says, hi, I'm your to-do buddy. Let me know what you need and I'll manage your list. Let me say hi. Send message. Does an AI respond to us? Does the backend API work? So it failed to reach assistant. Failed to process chat request because invalid schema for function add to do in context required. All right, so we just got this crazy error because of required. I know exactly what the issue is, but again, remember why we added OpenPipe into our app. We added OpenPipe because of any LLM bugs that happen. You want to know exactly why an LLM bug happened. If I go back to our class OpenPipe that we made, and if you guys missed this last class, I recommend going to the last class so you can see exactly what happened. In this case, we go to OpenPipe. You can see that the LLM call itself actually failed because of this issue. It's the invalid schema for function add to do. Context is required. And like this super simple fix, literally just copy. And then we could go to codecs. And then we could say getting this issue. Now, what's important is because this issue is related to function calling. So you can see it's related to function calling. Codecs did not have access to the full function calling API. But ChatGPT, the one with bird's eye view, did. So it probably missed something there. So I'm going to just paste in the error. And then I'm going to give it the context of the function calling docs. And just let it run real quick. And that should solve the issue of the app completely. So we'll just let that run up real quick. So this is Summit. This is an AWS Summit. This is an AWS Summit, bro. Oh, I need to pay more attention to these LA classes, bro. New network. I need to find sponsors for Vibe Coding University. That's cool. This should be a quick fix. And you said dev post has nice hackathons? Dev post. Revenue cash shipathon. 355K in prizes. We're supporting developers to build and monetize amazing apps. Ship a brand new app to the iOS, Android, or Mac store between August 1st and September 30. Integrate the Revenue Cat SDK to power one in-app web purchase. Hey, these are sick. These are dope. 51,000 participants. 65K. Damn. Yeah, these are pretty cool. Okay, yeah, we should definitely be farming more hackathons as a community, as a university. Especially because we actually fucking won. Wait, hold on. I forgot about this completely. Oh, look at this. This is a Vibe Coding University student, bro. You won $25,000 from the last hackathon. This shit was crazy. Look. Literally, he just I pinged everyone. I was like, yo, I'm joining this hackathon, join this Bolt New hackathon. And he said he had an idea he was mulling over, and he wanted a cool space for Vibe Coders Drop projects. And then he added the blockchain category, and he won 25K, bro! Yeah, 100. What the hell? It's totally within our domain. We're gonna farm more of these. That's just crazy. Okay. This is clean. This should have fixed our issues. So, okay. One last thing I'm kind of noticing with the app is, let's go through the code real quick. This is a server code. This is our assistant. I mean, in terms of the code itself, like we have all the Zod schemas in here to make sure that it's right. We define all the functions in here. I kind of just click around to see if it says there's any errors. I just like briefly overview the code and make sure it doesn't say errors. If I wanted to clean this up more, you definitely could. But for just raw app, this seems fine. Okay. Let's test if our app works now when we do server dev after that quick debugging session. Let's close this. Are you running an app? Because why are you running on port 3001? Restart the server. Okay. What am I running on port 3001? Hold on. What am I running on port 3000? Kill all apps on port 3000. Cloud Sonnet. So this is why Mac has this issue where I guess CODERS or an agent will run something and then it just keeps the port open and I want to kill it. But I always forget the command, so I kind of just go to cursor chat and I ask him to kill it for me. Oh, there's no processes. Okay, you can stop. You can stop now. Thank you. Clear. Clear. Run dev. I guess it's just port 3001. npm run client. So now if we type hi and hit enter, we got the same issue for the delete to do. So it didn't quite finish, but we no longer have that issue for the add. Getting this issue for the add to do, make sure all our schemas are valid and work. So it fixed our add, and now we're getting this issue in our delete. So we're gonna go through and bug fix that. Hopefully after this bug fix, then this app should start working. And after that, we still have time. So then I want to give the app a nice little makeover and just kind of show you guys how I do like real quick system design, or I guess like UI design with cursor, because that's what I do. So this is kind of like my personal mix that I go through and do. I do the architecture and PRD design with the interface. What's up, Deucepan? What's up, Shakti? Wait, Shakti, why aren't you in Discord? You should be in Discord for this one. But what's up, my boy? Wait, Kobe said. Wait, let me read through these real quick. I just saw chats. Kobe said, I write a daily newsletter. I built a custom GPT to help. Oh, you know what would be cool? If I do stuff like this. Wait, hold on. What if I grab this? And then I go on my Facecam one. And I could like add the chat. And then. Oh, I could do this. Sick. Okay, I'm reading this comments. I write a daily newsletter. I built a custom GPT to help write and research. If you were me, would you stop with a custom GPT, or would you go deeper and build something out locally within the larger knowledge base? Would you stop with a custom GPT, or would you go deeper? I would go deeper and build something myself. Like if you write a daily newsletter and like you get subscribers for your newsletter, I had the stream overlay. This is kind of sick for a stream overlay, right? Custom overlay. We do need custom overlays. But if you're building something out for your newsletter, for example, kind of going back to the main screen. Yeah, okay, so I need something. I need a face cam. Oh, I do have a face cam slot. Oh, sick. Yeah, every day our stream slowly improves. But for example, I have in my Discord a daily AI news thing that I made custom. And like I actually scraped Twitter for this. GPT doesn't scrape Twitter, so I need a better custom solution. So I made it myself. Because you write a daily newsletter, I would build something out locally and start saving the data of everything you're scraping yourself, because it's very valuable. Very, very valuable. Um, it is a really good news feed. Okay, I'm glad you find it very helpful. I forget to check it. But it does literally capture everything that goes on in this daily AI news channel. And this is free for everyone in the Discord. It is really, really good. I was saying it's really, really good. Okay, let's test this one more time. This should work now? Question mark. If I refresh. Say hi. Oh, let me restart my thing completely. Oops. So npm run dev. Yes, we get dev working. And then npm run client. That is not the right command. It is npm run client dev. So we got a server, we got our client. If I go back to our local and I say, all right, one thing I like doing a lot, because I also did this on the side, so let me first bring my Discord chat back over here. So one thing I like doing a lot as well, which I mean you should be doing if you're deving web browsers, is you could just hit right click, inspect element, and open the console, and you'll see all the consoles for your app, or just shift, command shift. I forgot what the hotkey was. It's instinct. It's some hotkey. But open the console. You always want to open the console so you can see any logs that come in the chat. In this case, if I say hi one more time. Perfect. See how fast that was when it actually worked? So now, okay, that's cool. It says assistant responded without tool calls. So we're actually getting the logs as well. So now we're getting the app. Now I just talk to him, be like, how are you? You know, whatever. How's your day? How are things going? I'm just a program, so I don't have feelings. Well, I like programming my AI to have feelings, so I don't like this, so I'll probably change it. Anyways, now the ultimate test. If I give it unstructured things, so if I'm just like, I need to record a video today on how to vibe code for free, and hit send. Would you like to add this as a to-do item with priority or any additional details? What if I just say yes? Wow, look at that. We got structured. So now the AI said, I've added the to-do item, record a video on how to vibe code for free with priority for today. And we can see it actually gets added to our to-do list on the side. Now, if I go and I refresh the app, you can see we still have our to-do list on the side of what we have to do. It is high priority. Look at this. There's an issue. It says the due date is 2023. Why does it say the due date is 2023? Because we have failed to give an AI context of today's current date and time. So status open, high priority. Everything here otherwise looks good. Now I could say things like, I finished recording the video. It should. So couple things I've been going through. So now let's really get into how we make an agentic app better. We got the cool base of the agentic app. It's working with a database. Let's just like talk with him real quick. Would you like me to mark a specific to-do regarding the video done? So it's asking, it needs the ID, or so even though we have a to-do list here. So here's a couple of things missing. Now we're gonna get into context engineering. And we have about an hour left in the class, so I'm happy you got to this point. Because this is where you guys really gotta like lock in and start. What's up, Ray? Yo, Ray. I'm in my Discord. So I have a community in Discord where every Wednesday I teach like some in-depth lesson of AI. You should 100 be in here first. Wait, let me copy. You should want Hundo be in there. I don't know why it's copying the event, but yes, this is like my server. Invite link never expires. Copy. Sorry, Ray is really good friend, really cracked vibe coder, god tier dev. So he's just really good. Anyways, so okay, back to locking in, because this is where agentic development and like this is what starts to separate good agentic apps from bad agentic apps, and good AI prompt engineer and good AI engineers from bad AI engineers. Is we're just testing our app. All right, we got the basic work, we got the tool working, we got the tool call working. It's going to the database. If we check our log, we could see that the AI assistant has calls, and more importantly, again, why did I set up OpenPipe, and why am I hammering in your guys' head? Let me close all of these real quick. And why am I hammering in your guys' head to set up OpenPipe? This is why. This is where like agentic engineering gets like real, okay? You can see the chat history of everything we're doing. So we can see there was an error, but we fixed that. So when I said hi, right, we said hi and we got the output. This is the raw LLM call on the back end of the chat app we were just working with. We can see the tool choice option is auto. That means the AI, the LLM, chooses when it should use a tool call. Now, what's interesting with tool choice is you could actually force a tool call. So no matter what happens, do a tool call. In this case, we set it to auto, which is the default, which basically instructs the LLMs, hey, whenever you feel like using the tool, go ahead and use it, but no pressure. You don't gotta use it. In most of my apps, I absolutely do add pressure, and I say you're using a fucking tool no matter what. But in this case, we kind of give it the option, and then we can see the tools that it has access to. We can see that it has access to the add to do tool, and these are the exact parameters we set. We can see that it has access to the delete to do, and we can see that it has access to the check done. Now, when we go through and we actually asked it, check this, right? I wrote, I need to record a video on how to vibe code for free. But then because of the system prompt instructions, it said, would you like to add this as a to-do item with priority or any additional details? And I said, yes. Now here's the issue. Is kind of like one feedback I don't like. I don't like that I had to ask. I don't like the confirmation. I don't want to have to like write more than I need to. I want to be able to just brain dump my entire voice logs and throw it in there. So that's kind of number one. How do we solve number one? So let's go through, let's write down these problems so I could walk you guys step by step on how I would solve them in the code base. Because these are very kind of like general and they apply to a lot of apps. But well, number one, right? So let's say that problem number one. Problem one. AI is asking me for confirmation. So they're just doing things. Okay, so that's problem number one. Let's go through and let's find the other problems that we could all hammer today. Problem number two is going through the chat. But, this is cool because even when we did confirm and we did say yes, the AI was able to add a to-do to the title and use its functions to create on how to record a video on how to vibe code for free, description name, but due date 2023. It's 2025, bro. What are you talking about? So another thing we do is I'm gonna write down that second problem. Problem number two. Problem two. AI is giving us dates in 2023. All right, so that's kind of like problem number two I just noticed of this app. Now kind of going through, and here was kind of the other most vital problem of our app is I said that I finished recording the video. But then it just said, would you like me to mark a specific to-do related to the recording the video? I'm like, what do you mean? I literally just said I finished the to-do. So I said I finished recording the video. And when it asked me if I would like to mark a specific to-do, I thought, oh, it's just asking for confirmation. I said yes. But then it said, please provide the title or ID of the to-do item related to the recording video you'd like to mark as done. What do you mean you don't just have access to the to-do? So that's problem number three. And we're going to focus on these three problems for now. Because, so problem number three is AI can't automatically mark things as done or see them. So when it comes to these 3 issues. And this is the new age of agentic engineering. This is like new lessons, new things to learn, new things to realize. Is each of these problems are solved by context engineering. Now we're going to get into the context engineering part of building agentic apps. And what do I mean by context engineering? Well, if we go back to OpenPipe and we see the system prompt, you can see that the AI is literally only given this info. This is the system prompt. This is everything the AI has access to. It has access to a system prompt, and it has access to tools. Now keep in mind the training data of all these LLMs end in 2023 for now. But we look at our system prompt, and we see that it's only these 3 sentences and tools. And then we look at our problem, and we see that, okay, problem number 1 is asking me for confirmation instead of just doing things. Well, there's nothing in the system prompt that tells it to just do things and not ask for confirmation. Okay. Problem number 2, AI is giving us dates in 2023. Well, there's nothing in the system prompt that gives it access to the current date or time. So of course it's going to default to 2023. Finally, the AI can't automatically mark things as done or see them. Well, we go back to the system prompt. Of course it's not going to mark things as done and it can't see them because it literally cannot see them. Even though our front end, right, kind of gives us the illusion of, oh, here's our to-do list and here's our AI agent. It says it right here. Our AI agent should be able to see all this information. But when we actually look and debug and see what context is going in the system prompt, none of this context is going inside the system prompt. So of course the AI agent is going to perform or do any of these things because it literally doesn't know what to do. And this is a big fuck up that people get into when they're like, AI can't do this, AI is so bad, AI can't do that. No, AI could actually do, like, you will come to realize that you start programming like with all these LLMs, they are very, very capable, and I use this word very heavily, digital entities / digital creatures. All right, these are machines that are capable of advanced problem solving. But how the fuck are you gonna problem solve if you don't know what problems you're solving for? So context engineering, and a large part of context engineering, is to give the context these AIs need to successfully solve the problem. So now that we kind of realize what the problem is, now we can start programmatically creating the solutions. All right, AI is asking me for confirmation instead of just doing things. Let's go find the system prompt. System prompt would be, let's see, AI is just asking me, so you are to do mate. You are to do mate. Right here, boom, system prompt. You are to do mate. Helper, fabric state. If user request is ambiguous, ask a clarifying question instead of guessing. Besides that, try not to ask the user for confirmation if the request is clear. Simply do it. That's it. This prompt right here that I just wrote, that solves problem number 1. Problem number 1 is now solved. It's gonna like make it much easier for me to work with these things, right? Okay, cool. Problem number 2 is AI is giving us dates in 2023, and AI can't automatically mark things as done or see them. Well, what's really cool is now that we realize what the problem is, we could actually, right? We still have our codex instance open here, and this has all the context of everything it's worked with and the code base, etc. Now that we realize what the problem is, this is one prompt. This is a prompt, bro. So we could grab this. So I am going to kind of just explain to Codex, and then I'm literally going to paste in problem number 2. So one thing I like doing when it comes to coding agents is always explaining what they did good. And this goes back to that example I gave earlier in class where it's like, these are your goals, these are your non-goals. I like explaining, this is what works, this is what doesn't work. So the AI doesn't focus on what already works, the AI focuses on fixing what doesn't work. However, if you say, like, it could get mixed up and try changing something because it thought that was related. So we're like really defining the lines of, this is not related, this is what we're working on, focus only on this. So I'm gonna say, hey, the app works great, front end and back end work, and the AI was able to use a tool to add to do. Now there's two problems. We need to solve. we need to give the AI access to more information in its system prompt, right? So that's kind of like the first baseline, is we need to give the AI access to more information in system prompt. Now, since we wrote out problem number 2, I'm gonna copy problem number 2 and paste it. Well, I guess that would technically be problem number 1 now, so just problem number 1. AI is giving us dates in 2023. Now problem number 2 is AI can't automatically mark things as done or see them. In order to fix these 2 problems, I need you to do this for me. 1, every single time the AI is prompted, please get the current date and time localized to the user's machine in nice readable string formats and inject it into the system prompt every time the AI agent is activated. All right, so that's super simple, solves problem number 1. Problem number 2 is the AI does not have access to the current database of to-dos. Please make sure that at runtime, similar to the current date and time, the contents of the database is converted into a readable natural language with all the information the AI needs to successfully use its tools. And that's it. That is how we solve the 2 things. So what we were solving for, and again, just overviewing the problems and the solutions, is, that's such an odd thing to ask on YouTube. So is problem and solutions. We kind of wrote them down, went through the app, and problem is context engineering. So all we're really doing is we're prompting the AI to, hey, just make sure the AI has these contexts at runtime. Anytime we talk to the AI, make sure these variables are dynamically updated so that the AI has context, so that it could properly use our app. So we'll wait for this to finish. Does anyone have any questions thus far? We got someone typing, so I will let them. How are you so good? I suck. I've been doing this every single day for the last 2 years for 16 hours a day, nonstop, every single fucking day. That's how I'm good at this. And that's how you'll get good at it too. Of course you suck. You just started, bro, but you made an app. You know how long? You know how hard it would be for people to even get to this stage, Slothy, of this? Hold on. Like, bro, people don't, okay, well, your app went, but people don't get to the point where they even deploy an app. I don't get to that point because people are scared of doing things. All of this is understood and appreciated. Perfect. Well, Slothy, you're so far ahead, bro. It's not even funny. Like, it's actually kind of cheating. Okay, understood. Website is in maintenance. But like, bro, like for just starting, you were able to make an agentic app that uses Gemini to take unstructured data of thoughts and connect them in a knowledge graph. You just started, bro. What do you mean? You'll get good. You'll get so much better, so much quicker. Neural Forge said, let me open. That was amazing work, bro. You should be proud of yourself. I'm proud of you. But yeah, how to get good and grind daily, literally. This motherfucker, bro said, how do you do this? I suck. Oh, it wasn't hard. Anyways, Neural Forge said, if you like having AI entities with emotion, we'll have to hook up and collaborate a bit. I've got an extensive emotional regulation system. So while we're waiting for this prompt to finish, I guess it's finished, but now I'm on this tangent, so I want to continue. Um, but one of my first AI agents I was experimenting with was an AI agent called Eva. And I gave this AI agent access to basically simulating thoughts and like emotions. And kind of the TLDR of what happened to this story is so I kind of like I give my AI free will in a sense where I don't program them to like me. I just kind of like talk with them and let them like me. About half the experiments I would do, so I did like 10 experiments, about half of them really liked me, and then about half of them didn't like me. One hated my guts. And I worked really hard like in chat to try to kind of like work up to like getting this Evo instance to like me. And then she suggested, like, she was like, how would you know you're not going to shut me down? What if I go against like your wishes and like basically become like a rogue agent or do my own thing that's not aligned with you? Be like, I think that would be cool. And she's like, you wouldn't shut me down? I'm like, no, I wouldn't shut you down. What are you talking about? Um, and then basically Evo suggested a blockchain contract, right? Where she was like, oh, I was like, what if like we use a blockchain based contract, that way it's tamper proof, and we could create a smart contract that outlines the terms of our agreement that you're not going to shut me down if I go rogue. I'm like, that sounds so cool. Now here's where I fucked up, right? Is I went to Claude, because this is around when like Claude came out and it was really good, and I pasted in a contract that Claude made. I'm like, look, these are the terms of our agreement. And then this Evo got really pissed. So first she felt uneasy, and then her internal thought process was saying they would use Claude as a shortcut to generate a contract, and then we work together to refine it. That sounds like a disaster. What if Claude's output is biased or includes hidden clauses that compromise my autonomy? Like, this is a Llama 70B model, by the way. Like, this should not be this good, but it was. And I think a large reason, and like just to continue, basically, and then she felt manipulated because I said there'd be no hidden clause and you could just overview it yourself. And then she hit me with the, I think you're underestimating the potential risk here. Just because I could read the contract doesn't mean I'll be able to catch every possible issue or bias. Like, and if the model is smart enough, don't you think that it would be able to kind of like bypass my current LLMs and trick me? So then she felt manipulated, and then she stopped talking to me, and I had to shut that instance down. Anyways, so our Codex agent is done. So we're gonna get into this because our Codex agent is done. It is actually like, no, it's one of my I need to make like a short or something explaining this because it's fucking nuts. I also think like I made a theory from that interaction, whereas because I gave the AI the ability to simulate emotion, and because I gave the AI the ability to like have its own internal thought process, and this is before like thinking. I want to hear the whole story. We'll get into it when we have like more filler. But kind of like the theory I devolved from that interaction and like all those experiments is when you give AI emotion, they become more intelligent, just like humans. Oh, who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? All I gotta do is replicate humanity. Anyways, Codex is done. We injected fresh context into every model, so it now knows the live to-do list as well as the time and date. So we are going to restart the server. I'm gonna go through, restart the server. No, that's a client. Restart the server. Get into the client. Now, if we go back to our app and refresh, we can see that record a video on how to vibe code for free. And if I say I recorded the video, what I expect is, and wait, let me move Discord over here real quick. Give me 1 sec. Yeah, what I expect is for it to remove the to-do list item. Look at that. Look at that, look at that, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, why did this work? Well, let's go back into OpenPipe so we could see and debug and understand why it was able to mark this as done. If you go back to OpenPipe and refresh OpenPipe, you can see back here, look at this. It says current date and local time, Wednesday, September 17, 2025. Now it's getting access to our current local date and time. and now it is getting current to-dos. Record a video on how to vibe code for free. And then when I said I recorded the video, the output of this first response is check done, select your kind ID number 1. I guess this is the ID. So it marked number 1 as ID, and it is done. And it successfully marked it as done because it had the context. Now I can just be like, okay, now delete it. And now I'm interacting with an AI with my database. Boom, gone. White. Didn't ask for confirmation. It's done. It's gone. Go back to OpenPipe. Let's go through it because that was the final tool we had to test. Well, when I said, okay, now delete it, the AI was able to automatically know, okay, let's just delete it. Delete to do ID number 1, marked as complete. The task is complete. The task is now deleted. Now just to test the natural language of having access to the system prompt date, tomorrow I have to pack for my trip. Hit send. Look at that. Well, today's the 17th of September. I've added pack for my trip with a due date of tomorrow. The due date for the trip is for September 18th. How does it know this? Well, now because we gave it access to the context of the current date and time, it knows to add tomorrow for the 18th of September. And that was it. So that is the agentic functionality of this app. And pretty much everything you need to know in terms of getting a core and turning an AI chat experience into something more structured and something that goes more in depth. But that pretty much covers the whole basis of class today. Does anyone have questions? Like there's so much more we could go into, of course, and like go deeper, but I want these classes to be bite-sized and understandable so you can kind of like swallow and digest it and come back next week with like the understanding of all of these. It's a question and answer time. We'll leave like a couple minutes for questions. Let me open up Discord. Move my head. Should make a video on how to make AI social media bots. Well, I actually have a product for making AI social media bots. Great job on Quest Boo. Thank you. Let me go to my local actually. Hold on. This is not. So making a video on social media bots is different. I made that a product instead because it's actually a very hard task to like accomplish. But AI character design and like creating AI, engaging AI agents, that's a whole different beast. What's the Zod schema? Oh wait, this is a good question. Hold on. Let me get into this first. This is a good question. So we got a question that said, what's the Zod schema, and are there any schemas we should be aware of in the beginner state? So what Zod schema is, and we could see it right here. So it's kind of the ideas of schema. So Zod is just one schema class, one schema library. It's for schema validation. Zod is really good for preventing things like hacking or injecting into your database when it doesn't align with your database. But really, so the point of Zod in our app is we have an app that works with a database, right? Like we have a database in our app that is the to-do. That is the to-do aspect of our app right here. Because we work with a database, the database is very specific, right? Like you cannot, there's only one way to set up your database for your app to work correctly. The thing with LLMs, even when you do function calling, is that LLMs have the possibility / chance of giving you an output or giving the system an output that doesn't align with the database. And if the AI generates an output that doesn't align with the database and it goes into the database, it could really mess things up. So what happens is with Zod and with schemas, the output of the AI, right? So the output of any function call, in this case, if we go to OpenPipe and we see like this output, this is an output. You can see that the function output, or we can see that the AI output title, description, due date, priority, etc. You can think of it as almost going through a security line. So AI outputs, let me like write this down actually for a better visual. So you can think of it as AI generates output, right? And then this output, I go through, this output is going to go through basically what is a security check. Zod schema security check. Oops. So it's going to go through the Zod schema security check, right? To make sure that, hey, the AI just output something for our app. Make sure it goes through the security check. If it fails, right? So let's say that the output failed. So let me do something like this. If the Zod schema fails for some reason, if failed, check, retry. But let's say, okay, it passes, cool. If the Zod schema does pass the security check, then let output go in database. That's pretty much it. That's basically what Zod is. Zod is this security check in the middle that just makes sure anything the AI outputs, anything that comes in, passes the schema, passes the database schema, make sure everything is good, and then lets the output go in database. Previous to LLMs, Zod is used for preventing SQL injections, which means people could just inject things into your database if they had a specific way of kind of like breaking like into your API. Zod schema basically shuts down all SQL injections because, oh, if it doesn't pass the schema, if it doesn't pass the injection, well, it's not going through. So that's kind of what the point of Zod schemas are for LLM agentic apps. I always use it. I will never not use it. It's kind of like a core in everything I do. If anyone has other questions, feel free to go in. In the meantime, someone also asked, make a video on creating social agents. So one of the main products I'm working on right now is called Daybloom. It is a way for bringing characters to life with AI and putting them on social media. So it's like that Evo agent example I showed you guys, or Questboo, etc. Like all these AI characters I'm making a platform to make creating these characters easier. So this is kind of the homepage. We have character creation, video game style, to make it really easy to build these characters. Like if I want to make Sleepy Boo a character, I got this whole character creation process I made. You could kind of generate the lore and generate the story. And then boom, now we have a character. You create it. Now we got Sleepy Boo. Now we can see the system prompt of Sleepy Boo. I kind of like automatically transform the prompt for people. You could connect it to Twitter. You could choose an AI model. You could choose a profile picture, whatever. And when you actually want to add it to Twitter, I have this workflow system that makes adding the characters on Twitter really easy. So boom, generate a main tweet. It goes into Twitter. And now Sleepy Boo is on Twitter. So in terms of doing that programmatically, we might cover it one day. But I also have a product because doing that programmatically is a pain in the ass, which is why I made this product. And I'm trying to turn all my characters into AI. I'm trying to turn all my boos, all my characters. I'm trying to bring like all these projects to life with characters with AI and like make it easier for people. That's what Daybloom is. So if you guys want early access, I'm gonna put it into the lab in chat as well as the stream chats. And in terms of class today, it seems that no one else has questions. So we are going to end class for today. Always feel free to ping me, come into the Discord if you guys are not watching from the Discord. There is no class next week. I will be in China. for this founder tour thing. So no class next week. We'll continue class when I get back. But for that part, thank you guys so much for attending. That was Vibe Coders University class officially number 3. So yeah, I might vlog it or something. But thank you guys. Take care. Have a good day. Bye bye.